examined the realities facing Nigerian exporters. Today's conversation comes at a very important time for Nigeria. There is growing consensus that Nigeria must diversify its economy, expand non-oil exports, strengthen MSME participation in trade, and maximize opportunities under the frameworks such as AFCFTA and the UK Developing Countries Trading Scheme. However, while Nigerian businesses continue to demonstrate resilience and innovation and need to be applauded, the logistics environment remains a major constraint. As a lot of people would have heard me say on a lot of occasions, Nigerian exporters are surviving in spite of the absence of government support and not because there is adequate support. Exporters continue to face high handling and transaction costs, port congestion and shipment delays, fragmented regulatory processes, infrastructure gaps, procedural uncertainty, informal costs that reduce competitiveness. And some of these informal costs, I actually shared a voice note from a crying, probably light, weeping entrepreneur with Titi yesterday. I thought that the agency was not mentioned in that voice note. I could have played it here for you to hear, but because a particular agency has been mentioned, and we do not want to present ourselves as antagonists of any particular agency because of the value that NPNEN stands for, I will not be playing it. So the result of these challenges is that many Nigerian products struggle to compete effectively in international markets, not necessarily because of poor quality, but because of the high cost and complexity of moving goods efficiently. I'll be very, very interested in hearing Kola Awe's views on this because she's been with us on this journey for the past almost 3 decades. So today's town hall is therefore not simply another discussion about trade challenges. It is a strategic conversation about competitiveness, economic diversification, job creation, investor confidence, regional integration, and Nigeria's place in the future of global trade. Our goal today is to foster honest, constructive, and solution-oriented dialogue. We want to understand what exactly are the biggest logistics barriers, which reforms are most urgent, what can government do differently, what role should the private sector play, how can institutions collaborate more effectively, what quick wins are possible, and how do we ensure implementation rather than repeated conversations. We are privileged to have an excellent panel representing key perspectives across the trade and logistics ecosystem. I want to specifically appreciate the agencies that are here. So far, I have seen PEBEC, our appreciation to the DG for sending such a high caliber representation. Nigeria Customs Service, we actually have 2 of you, and your presence is very, very, very appreciated, but also very, very critical because under the current Controller General, current Controller General, Customs has gradually repositioned itself as Nigeria's probably #1 trade facilitator. And we have seen you guys again and again in conversations and engagements that have to do with removal of barriers to export. So I encourage everyone to engage openly, respectfully, and constructively as we work collectively toward practical solutions. So again, And it's a matter of courtesy. I thank you once again for joining us. And we did not uh, itemize in any particular order our panelists, but I acknowledge, like Titi has done, Sadiq, my very close friend and fighter of many years, Mrs. Adago, Mr. Ruben, where I don't know who else we are awaiting. Even if we have not been advertising you as panelists, we will like to hear from the government agencies here represented. There's a Mr. Tamba. Is that the same as Ruben? Titi?
Yes, yes. Is
Okay,
Ruben
okay.
Tamba? Yes.
Okay, all right, Mr. Ruben Tamba. So we have right now PEPEC and NCS. Please let me know as we go along, which other government agencies will be joining. But definitely, the two who are here, we not only appreciate you, we acknowledge that you have been doing a lot, but there's still a lot that we will charge you to do. So,
Moderator,
without
sir,
wasting
please.
any further time, to begin our discussion,
Good.
did somebody want to say something?
Yes, yes. This is from NAFDAC Export Dex. I just want to, I tried to put it up on the chat that NAFDAC is represented here too. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. So I've added NAFDAC to those, and we appreciate you also for being here. And we will definitely be asking you to bring a perspective as we go on. So to begin our discussion, I would like to invite each panelist to briefly introduce themselves and take how many minutes do we have more? I would probably want us to take each panelist as you introduce yourself. Please take like 2 to 3 minutes to provide your opening reflections on what you consider to be the single most in Nigeria's export competitiveness today. This session again is all about logistics challenges. Some of them you can find in textbooks. Most of them, it's only the person who wears the shoe that knows where it is paining. And that's why our panel has been drawn from real players in Nigeria's export sector who have experienced one or the other, or 10 or 20 of these challenges. So let me start with you. I think the best would be to actually have Kola uh, rounding up this first session. So, Sadiq, can you please take the first shot? Introduction, and then your reflection on what you consider to be the single most urgent logistic challenge affecting Nigeria's export competitiveness today. Thank you. Malam Sadiq Kasim.
Good morning, the Director General, the moderator, and other panelists and distinguished participants in this town hall meeting. My name is Sadiq Kasim. First of all, let me again take an excuse similar to what the moderator has done. Because of the issue of network, if I put on my video, the voice could be tampered with, and then you would be having disjointed contributions. So I would rather you hear me than see my face. It's an old face anyway. So my name is Sadiq Kasim. I presently work with Tropical General Investments Group as the Director of Corporate Affairs for the group. Previously, I've worked in different sectors in different organizations, both private and public, over the last 40 years. Like Femi had said, we have been co-warriors in the struggle for better business environment for Nigeria. And okay, so to talk about generally about the theme of today's discussion, as somebody who has been in the space, especially in export, for a long time, it's almost like a cliche if we say that this is an important topic. We need to discuss it because, yes, it is. And it should have been tackled and solved decades ago rather than us continuing to talk about it even till today. I'll give you an example. Last year, Mr. President visited Brazil. And part of the delegation, I tried to sneak myself in because I act as the president of Fertilizer Producers and Suppliers Association of Nigeria, and sneaked in and managed to get the discussion to be on fertilizer. Why? Because Nigeria has, started and stamped its name in this fertilizer space of recent. And for information, and I believe there are people here who can confirm, today fertilizer export is the largest non-oil export earner for Nigeria. And looking at it strategically, between Lagos and Sao Paulo is a 6.5 hours flight, probably the fastest you can do intercontinental. And it's almost like a straight line across the Atlantic. Yet, the business of fertilizer supplies, and okay, another thing, Brazil consumes 55 million tons of fertilizers, and they import everything. Yet Nigeria, as a net exporter of urea first, with a net export of probably a capacity of probably 6 million tons, we're still not so much doing so much. And another thing, even if urea is being sold to Brazil, unfortunately, NPK fertilizers are not being sold to Brazil simply because all the blenders in the country lack the logistic capacity to deliver bulk orders. The reason why the urea manufacturers are able to do that is because they are by the seashore and they can just do direct loading onto the vessels and dispatch. But none of the blenders, there are about 100 blenders in country with a capacity to produce more than 10 million tons. And Nigeria's consumption is what, 3 million? So we have actually a capacity to produce 7 million in excess, yet we can't do. In fact, the worst thing that I can tell you, not even Brazil, is Burkina Faso here. Just, one border across, when you go through Kebbi, maybe you just cross through Niger and get to Burkina Faso, requires 24,000 tons monthly every year. But we can't supply it. And Burkina Faso is landlocked. We can't even do that from Nigeria. They have done all they could. They have even asked us, can you deliver to Lomé? Lomé Port, we will take it up from there. We can't deliver. These are some of the challenges we have. I've seen so many of this happening. So why? Yes, I know the NPNEN has invited a lot of government agencies, and I give kudos to the Nigeria Customs lately. And believe me, I salute the efforts of the present Controller General of Customs for all the efforts he's been doing to make sure that he removes all the challenges as far as customs is concerned. And I can see even here, there are 3 customs officers who, even if we don't ascribe their presence here to the service, we ascribe it to the fact that the service has encouraged them to interact and learn more so that they can improve on their delivery of service. Apart from that, ways, for instance, the Shippers Council, they are not here. I haven't seen the Ports Authority, even though I heard the DG mentioning their name, but they are not here. NAFDAC has done a lot also and is still doing a lot, especially when it comes to the regulatory environment. We give kudos to the organization. But again, there are so many delays that are ascribed to issues to do with regulatory environment. We need to focus on that also. So this is like my opening. Thank you very much for the opportunity. We need to talk some more.
And thank you very much, Malam Sadiq, for being conscious of the time that is not available to us. So can we go ahead now? I note quite a few points that you have made, especially in terms of um, opportunity and the unutilized capacity gap. Products needed cannot get to where they are needed. And I think that as we go along, maybe we'll now come back to you to tell us specifically what some of these agencies that are present with us, what role they can play in removing those obstacles that have incapacitated your ability to leverage on the potential. Thank you again. So can we go to Mrs. Adagu? Is that Gum Arabic Company of Nigeria? Hello, can everybody hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Good day, everyone. My name is Adaku Chidume Okoro, the Group Managing Director of Gakon Group. Gakon Limited has been into agro-commodities value chain. We are doing seed development, like the ginger seed that is almost getting extinguished in Nigeria. I'm sure you have an idea of what is happening to the Nigerian ginger sector. We're also into aggregation. We are processing agro-commodities as well as manufacturing and exports. Export is where we have our strength. We have been in this business of export for almost 3 decades now, so we can tell you accurately where it pinches. We are wearing that shoe, and we can tell you how comfortable it is. Talking about logistics, recently, it didn't just start though, but it has just heightened. The port congestion, ships are now being diverted to Togo, Lome, Ghana, Benin. Customers, we are seriously losing customers' patronage and confidence because you give a date for shipment, it doesn't turn out to be so. A shipment that you tell a customer that will take place within 10 days will end up taking place. The earliest that can happen could be as long as 2 months, 3 months. Of course, customers would rather deal with precision where they know when they place orders, their orders come at specific dates, time to service their manufacturing processes. So this is not to the cost of also our exports deliveries are far more expensive than what operates in any other part of the world because of this logistics challenge. Smart customers shift their attention to where they can source their raw materials cheaper. So this is making our products not to be competitive in the international markets, making us to lose business, making Nigeria to lose foreign exchange. The list is endless. But I'm happy for this town hall meeting of today, and especially being given an opportunity as a practitioner to speak to the regulatory authorities, the agencies whom we think can help us come out of this challenge. As I speak, by this time last year, to truck a 40-feet container from Kano to Lagos was costing about 850,000 naira. As I speak today, you can't get anything less than 2 million. 2 million naira to send a truck from Kano to Lagos. And when you factor in all this, it affects the price you have to offer to the customer. The trucking challenge is just a bit of it. The truck drivers are not even agreeing to come because of the congestion and the frustrations they face when they get to the shipping terminal. The getting in process is a big challenge. Drivers will tell you that they pay as much as 150,000 naira to get in their trucks when they get to the shipping terminal. When they get to our wharves, what is causing this problem? What can we do? To be honest with you, whatever that can be done, we keep changing policies every now and then. As new bosses come up, they come with their own new set of policies. But are these policies working? Is it having effect on the easiness of exporting out of Nigeria? So I think what needs to be done urgently is to automate some of these processes. There is the Nigerian Trade System gov.ng, where you process your NXP forms, you make next payments, you collect your CCI. Please, can I suggest that let the custom form be also on that site as part of what we are trying to do to ease the challenges exporters are having? Let there be a form there that is called custom form that exporters can fill at the same time of filling their NSP forms and all that. You declare what you're exporting, and then you state categorically what the customs are looking for on that form. And then you print it. All these documents will be handed over to the truck driver, who will now come with that to the getting in spot and hand those documents over to the regulators. I mean, in as much as we were, so the next thing we need to do is automation of inspection. We should install industrial scanners at our ports. As the trucks are coming in, let them go through industrial scanners instead of manual and analog scanning. It doesn't help the process. Industrial scanners will dictate whatever is in the container. That is what is, this is what obtains in every other part of. So why is our own different? So if we know what the challenges are, let us decisively deal with them instead of pretending that we are bringing or profiling a solution that doesn't work. So let us automate our processes in terms of documentation, in terms of scanning of containers to know what is there. That can reduce the shipment time, the documentation process by as much as 3 days. So instead of telling me NDLA is scanning, checking the container, custom is checking, police is checking, DSS is checking, and all that, if we automate the process, it will take only 24 hours and your documents are out and the goods can get on board. This is also being aware that the part of the congestion is because of the US-Iran war, which we can do little or nothing about, but we can still help ourselves despite all that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. We still have a few other panelists formally invited to share their opinion before we now go on to our regulators. So, Mr. Tamba Ruben, Madam, thank you for highlighting some of those. Like I said, is the person who wears the shoe that knows where it pinches. Your moderator of today actually lost, well, to mega companies, that's not much money, but to MSMEs, $107,000 is a lot. In 2021, I tried to ship a 40-foot container of goods that I wanted to sell as a Christmas sales in Canada. The container was ready on the 24th day of October. It did not get to the ship site until the 13th of January the following year. The purpose of Christmas sales had gone. 70% of that container was loaded with products that had a 12-month shelf life. So 4 months was lost already of shelf life to port congestion. So, and of course, there are thousands of Nigerian exporters who have gone through one headache or the other. Bottom line, by the time that my container got to Montreal, it was already May of the following year. Actually, I think the last day of May of the following year. So basically everything there was no longer valid to be sold on the shelves in Canada. So thank you for bringing those out. But also I'm not holding brief for the Nigeria Customs Service. I know that they have taken automation very seriously. And as they are facilitating trade, their automation, their prioritization of technology is also helping to identify and expose sharp practices, even the importation of arms illegally and the other drugs and unwanted things in Nigeria. I believe that, like Sadiq said, we can only ask for more, but let's acknowledge that they are already on the right path as far as that is concerned. So thank you. And now I hand over to Mr. Tamba Ruben.
Thank you so very much for having me, sir. And a pleasant morning to all of us on this platform. So my name is Ruben Tamba. I am the founder and CEO of UB Brima Investments and Logistics, business-wise known as UB Brima Logistics and Travels. It's a Cameroonian Nigerian company which was established to promote the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. And it's a great delight for me to be here this morning to share a little bit of what we have been into since the advent of the AFCFTA. I think for me, I want to particularly thank the federal government for what the federal government have been doing to facilitate trade, because as a logistic player, we can't get all solutions in one day, or we can't get all issues addressed in one day. A lot has been done as to facilitating trade, especially within the ECOWAS region from the federal government. We that are on the road, because we are principally on the road, we facilitate movement based on land. So today, physically present in 23 African countries, we can proudly say that the federal government is doing well as compared to what we see in other countries. The first speaker spoke of Niger and Benin Republic. For some of us who are very, very much bilingual and can relate in both English and French, when we visit those countries and get to hear what happens around their logistic activities there, we can say that the federal government is doing well. But as Oliver Twist, we will not fold our hands. We will keep on taxing the federal government and pushing for more reforms so that our business environment can be seamless. To throw more light on our first speaker, who actually expressed difficulties in shipping to Lome. I don't know where particularly the difficulty was actually met, because it's actually very, very, very easy to move whatever products from Nigeria to Benin Republic or from Benin Republic into Nigeria. We are on that particular stretch of movement every day. So I don't know where the difficulty was, and it will be very important for us to be able to speak out, particularly on where we found difficulties, so that some persons like us who are conversant with some routes, we can be able to advise appropriately on how exporters can go about their difficulties. So at this juncture, we are clamoring and begging that Africans should make use of the continent. Because if we are very, very much involved and promote inter-African trade, we won't be having losses of us selling containers to Canada, and it can't get to Canada on due time and all of that. We are talking about 54 African countries. So I think we in Nigeria, we should do our utmost best to secure market outlets in other African countries, because we have quite a lot in Nigeria. Which other countries can benefit from us. So,
Mr. Tamba,
yes,
sorry,
please.
Mr. Tamba.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I'm really, really, really sorry to have to punctuate this. And thank you for the very inspiring and motivating observation. As a practitioner in the logistics, because I was actually going to reduce panelists' intervention to 2 minutes each. So if you don't mind, can you just give us from your experience 1, 2, 3 things that either limit or reduce the logistics efficiency, or, like you have been in line of saying, 1 or 2 things that Nigeria can do to better what is already on the ground within the next 2 minutes? Thanks.
Yes, sir. I think a simple answer to this particular question of yours is the adequate share of real-time information. That's just the answer.
Good.
Yes, the adequate share of real-time and reliable information. That is what we are lacking, not only in Nigeria, but on the African continent. Me speaking to you, I'm a Cameroonian, and I can tell you that I have exploited West Africa to the fullest. There is no country in West Africa I personally have not driven to. So it actually turns me somehow to get an African complaining of moving from Nigeria to Benin Republic, which is just close. Not to talk about going right up to Senegal, Liberia, the Gambia. So I think the difficulty we face, not only in Nigeria, but in other African countries, is the lack of reliable information. And by the time we are able to get reliable information, I think all these difficulties we are mentioning here and those we are still to mention, we won't have those difficulties. So let's abbrace ourselves with reliable information, and I think it's going to be helpful, and it's going to address, if not all, most of our difficulties. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tamba. On another town hall, hopefully soon, we probably will be able to engage with you on some of these things. In years ago, as a civil servant myself, actually working with the Nigeria Export Promotion Council, an official consignment of exhibits of Nigeria, official container consignment going to Ouagadougou for the Salon International de l'Artisanat. I'm sure you know SIA. He was held by the Benin Republic Customs for almost 3.5 days, and we couldn't get it into Burkina Faso until the middle of that exhibition. But like I said, these are conversations that we can put as real-time input. I appreciate your suggestion about sharing of information. This is part of technological advancement, and I'm sure it's not just for exports in general, it will enhance our efficiency as we prepare for the AFCFTA and DCTS. Thank you very much. And now, um, my dear brother, friend, co-fighter, and I think, like I said, more than this, please you have the floor. Introduce yourself briefly, and I will add half a minute to your 2 minutes, so 2.5 minutes. Let's hear your experiences and recommendations. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. I'd like to stay within the realm of the 2.5 minutes. My name is Barrister Kolawe. I manage XPT Logistics. I manage XPT Impex, Import and Export, and XPT Haulage. We currently work for about 7 multinational companies moving their goods across West and Central Africa. We've been highly involved in logistics in Nigeria. This topic is a topic that we've always talked about year in, year out, year in, year out. And I think the town hall has done so well to bring this in place. Well, I just want to suggest that we should be more focused on solutions here. How to drive solutions in the midst of all the deficiencies and in the midst of the challenges. Contrary to my brother Ruben, if I decide to go into challenges in the sub-region, either by air, by sea, or by road, we're not going to live here. No, we're not going to live here at all. So I don't want to go into that way. We have a lot of non-tariff barriers. But one thing I need to mention here, logistics goes with trade. And we look at the intra-African trade, we're about 15%. That means we're not trading enough. So we can't get logistics. And one of the major costs that we're having in Africa is logistics cost. The cost of freighting. It's cheaper to come in from China than to go from here to Ghana. Then another major problem is the transit time. The transit time between one country to the other. You can use 26 days sometimes if you're not very good at knowing which shipping line has a preference for West Africa and the one that has a preference for Europe. That's why a lot of people still fall into that problem. Transit time is also a major issue. Another basic issue that I like to emphasize is the knowledge. Knowledge. A lot of exporters tend to believe that they can outsource logistics. And logistics is the final.
No.
Concern. A good knowledge of logistics can save you a lot of problem. Very common with West Africa sub-region that can take 5 to 10 days. And there's some shipping line that can take 26 to 30 days. So it's your understanding. And when you give your transaction to an agent and they plug you into 30, you probably think that the transit time is high. So that is one key thing about understanding logistics. The one thing we have to say, when we look at the road also have its own problem. I have about 6 trucks myself, 7 brother moving into the Republic of Benin as I speak to you right now. And some of those trucks have stayed for some time. And because of the sovereignty of West African state, they keep imposing their tariff, their laws, their restrictions, their barriers. And every day you're about to contend with some of these restrictions and barriers. But overall, the problems are there. Overall, the goods are there. overall, what are the solutions? How do we really get out of this? How do we transport and make sure that we are relatively cheap and that we are competitive in the sub-region? Sadiq said something about urea. I've been working on urea for 2 companies right now. The only reason they can't export to Togo is because they're not competitive. The cost is extremely very high. That's the only reason. Otherwise, they would have been able to export to the Gambia. But when we plug the figures, we find out that the costs are extremely on the high side. So those are the key issues that we should be looking at. How do we solve them? What is the place of aggregation? What is the place of the ceiling? What is the ceiling currently doing? What are we doing with the airline? An average cost to UK now is about 6,000 to 7,000 naira per kilo. That's a ridiculous amount of money. And the way you go by sea on aggregation basis, they charge you 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds. That's also a ridiculous amount of money. So I think everybody, including the NPNEN, should come into this speed and see what do we do to support MSMEs to be able to export. Because the way it is, even the African Continental Free Trade will never go forward. I'm using the word never, if logistics is not plugged into the entire system. I just came back from Biashara in Togo yesterday night, came in around 12 midnight. And the major topic is also logistics. And everybody's coming to terms to know that logistics can impact negatively on the African Continental Free Trade. It is a fact. We're doing a shipment right now to Central African Republic. We don't want to touch it. And the shipping line is giving us $12,000 to deliver door to door on a DPP basis. $12,000. How do you want to do that transaction? $12,000. So we have to improvise by going to Cameroon. Then from Cameroon, we have to truck in by road and go to Central African Republic. So those are the huge challenges that are there. They are enormous. They are enormous. If you just go through it, it will weigh you down that you might not even want to have time to think about the solution. And that's why associations, the NASIMA, the Chambers of Commerce, the NASI, must come together and see how we can drive this cost. Next week, we have a meeting with almost all the airlines at NACO. We partner with NACO to see how we can draw the freight cost down from the ridiculous 6,000, 3,000. South Africa is 3,000, just South Africa by Ernesto per kilo. So we're looking at how to discuss with them and have a special window for MSME so that they'll be able to export. And then we also need to push fast for the ceiling project. It's been on since 2006. And I think at this point in time, they are getting to the tail end of the whole thing. I was part of those that are part of the consortium now. We visited some terminal in Ikorodu and Kirikiri. And I think if we can get a badge that can do the transaction, then those are the things I think we should be looking at now, solutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So please, for me to throw more light on what Mr. Kola just said concerning his shipment to Central Africa, which has to pass through Douala. Mr. Kola, for your shipment to pass through Douala to get to Central Africa is going to take a lot of time. I would have advised you to let that shipment go by land, passing through Adamawa. You know, Nigeria has Adamawa and Cameroon has Adamawa. If it goes through Adamawa, Nigeria into Adamawa, Cameroon, from there it can go to Central Africa without any hitches and without no waste of time.
If I throw it by truck into Cameroon, I have to pay a bond on my way back. How do I collect my bond?
Thank you very much, Mr. Tumba.
Mr. Kola, let us have this conversation privately, please. I will give you details of that. Thank you,
yes,
sir.
I would suggest that, please.
You're muted.
Oh, sorry about that. So I was saying that it's a good thing we are having this conversation, and we encourage the kind of exchange of experience and expertise that will take place between Mr. Kolawe and Mr. Ruben outside our conclusion. Kola, you remember very well, 2023, Nigeria, Gambia,
I remember very well, sir.
He took a trailer. We found out there that it takes a trailer from mile 2 to
1 month.
91,
1 month.
91 days.
Yeah, a trailer 91 days, a truck, a 20-foot truck to the air, 1 month.
Yes. And with that, we are talking about intra-Africa trade. Unless these things are collapsed, it won't happen. I'm also very, very apprehensive about the kind of result that can come with the, what do you call it, NACO and what have you, as long as they, I'm saying this to introduce the absolute necessity of trade support, incentive for trade support, because if we have identified logistics as a huge cost, the next thing that we should be thinking about, and I'm saying this now as I move into inviting the government agencies here present to start thinking, especially PEBE, what can they recommend to the federal government? Will there be a cargo rebate fund to support Nigeria's export? The export expansion grant that we say has been comatose for the past 4 years. And I'm actually surprised and disappointed that Nigeria Export Promotion Council is not on this call. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope somebody will just immediately say, no, NEPC is here. So I think Sadiq mentioned some agencies earlier on. These are the people who should be listening to what we're talking about. The National Coordinating Office of AFCFTA, they are supposed to be very, very, how do I put it, involved in these kinds of meetings. And of course, at NPNEN, we will make sure that they get the outcomes and hopefully bring them into it. So on this note, I want to thank our private sector panelists so far. And I want to bring in we have, like I noted earlier, PEBEC, NCS.
Sorry, Mr. Boyede, Mr. Lujimi is here. He's joined
Oh,
us
he
for
has
a while. Yeah. I messaged, I think you did.
Sorry.
Just
Okay, so let's quickly take your views. 3 minutes, sir.
Okay, good afternoon. Sorry, I joined a bit late because of one or two things. I've listened carefully to all the panelists, and as the gentleman that is Nigerian Cameroonian said, we should be talking about solution, and I would love an opportunity to engage with him outside of this platform. The biggest, we operate within the air freight.
I mentioned solution. Jim, I mentioned solution.
We operate within the air freight sector, and I don't want to bore you all with the issues as regard challenges, but we have mainly focused on solutions. Now, we have solutions as far as customs clearance in the UK, customs clearance in the 28 European Union. We have tried severally to bring our own aircraft into Nigeria, but the biggest challenge is when we want to do intra-African trade, we have volumes out of Lagos into West Africa, Central Africa. But what do we bring back from Central Africa and East Africa? And that is why air cargo has not been possible in terms of practical sense within the West African and Central African sub-region. Because the aircraft is coming back empty from West Africa and Central Africa into Nigeria. If we can create a partnership whereby we can give a rotation to our aircraft to be able to go from Lagos to Accra, then we can pick something from Accra to Cameroon. From Cameroon, we can pick something to come back into Lagos. what Mr. Kolawe was talking about, cost of freight will be reduced by about 60%. But because when you send cargo, when you send the aircraft out of Lagos, the aircraft is coming back empty into Lagos. That means you are loading on you flying back empty. We also believe that a lot of the transactions that is happening within the air freight corridor, it's small scale individuals, companies that are trying to export food items across Europe and the UK, United States. We don't participate currently in terms of United States and Canada since the advent of Trump, but we believe that we provide a very reliable and cost-effective service out of Lagos International Airport into UK and 28 European countries with dedicated time-definite service. UK is we can provide you a service, 4 days turnaround. Europe, we provide 10 days turnaround for doorstep delivery. When Mr. Kola said 6,000 naira per kilo, but 6,000 naira per kilo for doorstep delivery into the UK is highly competitive as compared to what DHL is charging. DHL is charging for the same service about 18,000 naira. But DHL is not in the personal interest of DHL for Nigeria to promote non-oil export. We have dedicated the last 40 years promoting non-oil export. Yes, we work with Nigerian Export Promotion Council since 1996. We are currently trying to set something up with Mr. Kola Aware as well on the ocean freight that will drastically reduce cost of ocean freight into Europe, into United Kingdom. We are not active within Africa, which is a shame. And this is why I would love an opportunity to speak to that gentleman that has, in a sense, to have extensive solutions across the West African, Central African belt. If we can find a partner in those countries,
can you please, as you introduce, you wanted to talk solution. Can you please just one solution, and then we will be able to take. We have less than 40 minutes more.
Okay, the only solution I can bring on board is that we have to find a way to create a network of solution providers, whereby if I want to do something in Ouagadougou, we have somebody in Ouagadougou that is an expert that we can work with. We need to collaborate more, and every other thing will fall in place. I don't think we should rely on the government. The government has no business in business. We have to rely on the private sector to continue to drive these solutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Mr. Boyede, you're muted.
I bind the spirit of muting that creeps into my system. Can you hear me now?
Perfectly. We bind
Can you
it
hear
with
now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So just before I bring in NAFDAC, I want to share one of the experiences that we recently had with one of our members. And this is just as a way to introduce the public sector contribution side. We have talked so far about external contributors to the high cost of logistics. some of the factors that actually make that some end up serving as a disincentive to export from Nigeria are actually internal. They are embedded in our agencies that are supposed to be trade support institutions. A lot claim to be digital, and Nigeria, I think last year or the year before, actually got appointed or recognized as the co-chairman of digital trade in Africa. But to a situation where an agency says it is fully digital, and it takes 8 months for a micro enterprise to be able to process approval within this agency that claims to be digital, where, for example, you are supposed to upload documents. That is for an agency that says it is digital. And you get there, what you see is maximum size uploadable, 1 MB. So if he is supposed to upload something like the digital, how do I put it, flow chart of what it is producing to get your approval, and that exceeds 1 MB, and it has taken that person 2 months to try to get that same thing to you, which they already have. So I just use this as an illustration about what we have in our public sector institutions. You go, for example, to, let's say, Corporate Affairs Commission, you are supposed to now be able to get your company incorporated digitally. But for 7 days of 8 days, the portal is down. And this is not to one institution or the other alone. It's almost 80% of our public institutions. So we also need to put at the back of our mind the challenges, the impediments within our trade support institutions. So on this note, Navdak, if you don't mind, can we just take you in 3 minutes? Because we also still want contributions from our participants today. I hope he's still with us, the representative of NAFDAC.
Well, yes, sir.
Udewe,
Yes, well, yeah. Good morning, sir. Yes,
All
good
right.
morning.
So can we please quickly hear? Yes. Mr. Demen.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for us for the discussion today. Just by way of starting, I bring goodwill from the Director General, and just to remind the House again that the agency is committed to trade facilitation, and our focus has always been on compliance. And in that regard, we're doing a lot, just like one of the panelists acknowledged that. And we'll continue to collaborate with NPNEN and all stakeholders to see that trade is facilitated. The topic for discussion, which has to do with logistics. Of course, in the course of this discussion, I think we have just, we don't have any major role to play in the logistics. Ours is to just ensure that exporters get the required document. And I would appreciate, even if it's in this meeting, if there is any area that has been identified that the agency is, not living up to expectations, we'll be very glad to see how that gap can actually be addressed. And just like a way of a reminder again, our facilitation incentives are there. And because all that we need is compliance, the DG, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, has always been gracious. And in the area of ensuring that this compliance has some incentives. And these incentives is one, products that are within our purview are tested in our labs for free. And so this is to encourage exporters to ensure that let them get their product tested before exportation. And of course, our certifications are online, fully automated, particularly the export certificates. And within the timelines, our doors are open. I can see some of the stakeholders that know me one-on-one. We can always be reached out anytime there is a need. And of course, our export certificates are almost, I would say they're almost free, lowest tariff for a consignment, particularly for these non-oil export products of produce, sesame seeds, and all whatnot. You pay for just 5,000 as per consignment. And so I think that's all I have to say. But like I said from the beginning, NAFDAC is always ready to partner with NPNEN and to see that trade is facilitated. Thank you, sir, and over. I'm still here. If there are questions that we need to address, we're here to address it. Thank you, sir. Over.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Demen. And I agree with you. This conversation has to take place outside today's town hall meeting because I am aware, not only because I'm a trustee of NPNEN, but also one of the consultants who worked on the market access, and I'm aware that again, as against what you said, that NAFDAC does not really have a significant role in what we are discussing. I think a good portion of the challenges that can end up contributing to the logistics costs are things that can be resolved with and by NAFDAC. And so I want to assure you that in no distant future, you will hear from our executive secretary, and we will be happy to accept your invitation to collaborate in bringing one by one these challenges to the attention of NAFDAC, and hopefully together we will achieve a reprieve for the MSME Nigerian exporter. Thank you once again for your intervention. And now I hand over to Nigeria Customs Service before I call Pebek. Nigeria Customs Service, we have Olaide Raymond and Njoku. I don't know who is speaking immediately. By the way, our president has joined us, and I'm sure in a very short time we'll be able to bring him up to say a few words. You're welcome, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, and greetings to all. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, sir. Nigeria Customs Service, please. 3 minutes. I can still see Madam.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Yes, we can.
We're delighted being in this town hall meeting, and it's worth our time, even though it's during working hour, but it's worth our time, and it's a great initiative. I must commend the organizers of this meeting. For us in Nigeria Customs Service, we don't have so much doing under logistics, but where we consider more of the compliance and trade facilitation of these items out of Nigeria. We don't only generate revenue as our account functions, we also facilitate trade. And for exports, commercial exports, we don't pay duty, they are free of charge. We pay nothing to the government. We only ensure that they are compliant to extant laws and that they don't export prohibited items. Neither do they export items without going through the shipment inspections. So, and we also facilitate in terms of for perishable items, we give them pre-release if there's any delay in getting their place certificate of inspection, because they are perishable items. We don't want them to get faults, of course. So we facilitate this trade, considering the fact that what we are selling out, what we're exporting is Nigeria as a country, and not just the product of that particular exporter. So we encourage and we facilitate trade, we give pre-release, ensuring that the exporter is compliant to export laws, that the items exporting to be exported are not prohibited. Thank you very much. Hello?
Yes. Are you done?
Yes, I'm done. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very, very much, madam. Just a quick question. Maybe you can or you want to ponder over it and later bring an answer before we round up. We have mentioned here, some people have talked about the persistent congestion at the ports. They have an idea about what can be done, first by the exporters themselves, and then maybe at government level to reduce the persistent congestion at our ports.
Okay,
Thank you.
very much. I don't know if someone from the Nigeria Port Authority here, I think that's where they are probably. They are going to be tell us what can be so these things can just
I'm not too sure we have
Thank
NPA here. Do we?
Okay.
And what I would propose also, again, to NPNEN Secretariat is that we note some of these items, and to the extent of Nigeria Customs Service, I can almost hold brief for them that any issue like this that is taken to them officially, they will find a way to address and respond to NPNEN, and NPNEN can share among its members. But I think it has been a critical, one of the most crucial points that have been raised here. Because when you talk about port congestion, you want to look at, is it as a result of infrastructural deficit, for example? Is it as a result of the too many agencies that are there? When you are talking about even we now have a whole ministry of blue, is it marine and blue economy and what have you, which I think it's maybe an upgrade to NIMASA and maritime services and all of those things. And one of our panelists earlier talked about interagency collaboration. I think we will find a way at NPNEN secretariat level to articulate this in a sharper way and bring to the attention of the Customs Service. Again, thank you for coming. And I see hands up. We'll soon be coming to you. I'm just going to go straight to PEBEC now, and to help the PEBEC representative. Unfortunately, we look at PEBEC, your organization, as the know-all and have all solutions. And if you don't have them today, we want to rely on you to provide the environment that enables export business to thrive. At our official presentation of the study report, the market access public, presentation, I remember clearly that part of the conversation there actually indicated the desirability of now having an ease of export business, not just presidential enabling, I don't know, is it Bureau of Ease of Doing Business, Maybe you now want to do ease of doing export also. Maybe you might want to have a unit that is dedicated to that within PEBEC. But you have listened attentively to the panelists and to the interjections by some of our agencies. I would just like to know, there are issues that have been raised here today just to help your intervention. There have been issues on reform priorities, challenges of SMEs, coordination by agencies, the urgency of need for reports, the need for competitiveness. And all of these are issues that PEBEC can take up one after the other. But just in these 3 minutes, we would like a perspective from PEBEC of your understanding thus far of the logistics challenges, and then what hopefully you have in the pipeline or you are working on to bring some solutions to this. Thank you very much. PEBEC, over to you, Engineer Obafemi.
Yes, thank you very much, our moderator, Are Boyede, for the introduction and for taking charge. Good morning, everybody. President Hamad Rabiu, I bring you special greetings from the Director General of PEBEC, Princess Zahara Mustafa Audu. And my name is Engineer Oluwaseun Obafemi. Fortunately, I can now say I feel like I'm a member of NPNEN. I was at your last program here in Abuja, and I have listened to, the discussion thus far, and I dare say this has just been. It's like somebody is using the PEBEC playbook, or somebody has access to the PEBEC playbook. Mr. Ruben did say he is aware that government is doing a lot, and just that probably the information, the awareness is not as throughput as it should be. Here in PEBEC, we are not oblivious of the challenges of all business practitioners, especially non-oil export practitioners. We are aware, and we constantly engage with both regulators and the practitioners so that it is not a one-sided move or attempt to resolve these concerns. Just last week, 13th and 14th of May, we were in Lagos as part of our port corridor cleanup. PEBEC has been mandated by the presidency to ensure that the cargo dwell time is minimized, reduced to less than 7 days. And we were in Lagos in February. We carried out consultations with all the players, NPA, Nigeria Customs, NDLE, Truck Operators Association, labor unions, even the police, everybody who is a player in that sector was involved, and we heard from all sides. And one of the key things that kept recurring from the conversation was the fact that the port environment itself needs a lot of cleanup. Cleanup in the sense that one of the major factors that causes all these delays include, some of them, not one of them, some of them include the lack of holding bays for trucks. That's why you see trucks are parked, always parked on the corridor to the port. There is no automated call-up system. There are illegal checkpoints across the entire port corridor. And last week, while we were there, at least 5 illegal checkpoints were dismantled on the directive of the PEBEC DG. The police was involved, the Marine Command of the NPA. The NPA was actively involved. The Nigerian Customs were there, NDLEA, even the Lagos State government, the Environmental Sanitation Corps, and the Ministry of Health were represented. And we engaged with the AMATO, Association of Maritime Truck Owners. They were there with us, and they were the ones that pointed to all the dead spots, all the red spots, showing us where the real issues are. So we're not just coming as government. We are also playing the role of the practitioners. We are actively listening. And this has been determined to be, am I still audible? Am I audible?
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you, sir. So fallout from that particular exercise, I know I'm dwelling so much on that particular exercise, but the fallout includes recommendations to institutionalize that cleanup exercise. Now it will be done quarterly, and then we'll keep checking up to ensure that the exercise is sustainable. Then NPA had been advised to establish a truck holding bay and automate their call-up system. And they are to also strengthen the port access control and security, which includes having pedestrian checks, either creating ID cards to ensure that if you are not supposed to be in or around the port area, you don't have any business coming there. So all these were captured in our reports. And then the Lagos Ministry of Health and Environmental Sanitation Corps has also been advised, and they are willing and ready to take up the sanitation challenges that were identified. And we'll continue to engage stakeholders. I recall that, let me go to Mr. Ruben again. He mentioned that, people are not aware of what is really going on. And I think is the most robust grievance redress mechanism in Nigeria. It is available for use to the entire public. Just go online, www.pebec.gov. You will see the Report Gov logo on the right and the top right corner webpage. Let us know your concern. You can also message Pebec at info@pebec.gov.ng. Let us know your concerns. We will address them as soon as possible. On Report Gov, it takes a maximum of 72 hours to get a response. And let me mention here, I'm not supposed to be speaking for customs, but let me mention that I know Madam Madaku mentioned that we should not be doing manual scanning at this time in this stage. But yes, that now we have scanners that can do as much as, I think, 120 containers in 1 hour. They are functional. But I think they are still being tested to, before further deployment to all terminals. So government is doing a lot. We need to know where the concerns are so that we can take the necessary steps to address them. We cannot be acting from one end alone. If we don't have information to act upon, it might be a bit more challenging to take the necessary steps. And then stakeholder engagement is one thing that we have identified has not really been done properly before now. But going forward, every stakeholder is involved, everybody is important, and at Pebec, we are willing, ready, and able to carry out our mandate to ensure that business is continually easier to be done in Nigeria. And as part of our encouragement of businesses, especially in terms of exports, a program was launched this May, the first week of May. It is called Enable Her. It is to identify and enable 3,700 women-led businesses and prepare them for export readiness within the next 6 months. So we are doing a lot and we are ready to do much more. Just call our attention to where we are not functional for now. Is here. Thank you. If there are questions, we are still here listening in.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Olufemi. Thanks for the invitation also. On behalf of NPNEN, I personally will take Pebek up on that. And you emphasize stakeholder engagement. From the 2 or 3 engagements that you have seen, your best, what do you call it, anchor in the export space is NPNEN. And I think that we have a pending request for the NPNEN management to sit courtesy call with the DG, where some of this will actually be treated and handled. And then NPNEN becomes not just your voice outside, but also the resource from which you can get feedback from the field as to specific areas that PEBE can address and make immediate impact when it comes to the non-oil export sector. I have exactly 19 minutes left to close this town hall meeting, and I have 3 hands. I also still have the president who has not yet spoken to us. So may I please appeal to Madam Adaku, Mr. Ibrahim, and Mrs. Sholari that they limit their interventions to 2 minutes each. And I want to be a little bit partial, biased, because I know one of these 3 hands is actually being lifted from Canada. So it may be aching so much. May I invite Alhaji Ibrahim to please take the first intervention.
All right, thank you so much, Chief Olufemi Boyede, and thanks for these organizers. My name is Alhaji Ibrahim Haruna. I'm the CEO of Ambition Groups of Companies and also the Vice President Operation, Nigeria Trade and Investment Center, Canada, and organizer of Nigeria Canada Trade and Investment Summit and Award. I've listened to a lot of issues, and Nigeria export competitiveness depend on not only on production, but on how efficiently goods move from one place to another. But one key thing that I've seen is about digitization, not able to upload a simple file. Also, another thing that we need to do is simplification of processes. Going between Canada and Nigeria, whenever I'm in Nigeria, it's a lot of frustration. Ordinary opening bank account can take days or hours, but when you see other part of the world, within seconds or minutes, it's done. So we need to simplify processes on the documentation. Sometimes we ask for too many documentation, and the timing is also very key. So having a stronger digital infrastructure, integrated export platform, collaboration among all stakeholders, and one single source of truth, to have a 360 view of all these agencies will help. So it means our policies maker needs to do more. In terms of capacity, for instance, we need to have a stronger accountability measures where we can have a strong backup systems, and so that we'll not be losing money at time because government portals are down. So that doesn't make any sense. So I think we can do better and be true to ourselves. All of us here, we are part of government as well. And we can do more by making all these processes easier. So that way we can make life easier for each and every one of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Haruna, for those brilliant contributions, which we have duly taken note of. May I now pass on to Mrs. Adaku, one of our panelists. Her hand has been up for long. Mrs. Adaku, over to you.
Thank you, my moderator. I want to start by thanking Mr. Oluwaseun profusely for at least the education he has given us. Actually, he has made my day by letting us know. It means help is on the around the corner by telling us that actually industrial scanners are being installed. You've made my day. There is hope. So if I'm signing the next contract with a customer, I can now comfortably say within so time frame, you can get your goods. So having said that, please, one more request. Can we also automate the custom form? Because it causes a lot of delay. so that as the trucks are getting in, they have this form completed and automated also, instead of going from one office to the other and all that. And my last note is Mr. Oluwaseun, please say thank you to your DG, the Quebec. You're doing a wonderful job with the ports cleanup. We are very confident that sooner or later, our export shipments will be very competitive and Nigeria will gain what it's supposed to get from our non-oil exports. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Madam, for keeping it short and simple and clear. And now I pass on to my last hand that is raised, Mrs. Bosun-Sholari.
Yes, a good afternoon to everyone. I won't stay long. You'll be surprised, sir. And it's a privilege for me being here. And I want to thank all the speakers. I have just two interventions. The first one for PEBEC. Then the second one is for NAFDAC. I have written PEBEC twice over my issue. In fact, my issues are known to some people, but sometimes these are issues that have brought tears into my eyes at 65, and that I have served the government and I retired since 2004. And then I faced another government agency that at 65 has kept making me weep. It's most unfortunate. PEBEC, I have written your office twice over this issue. And usually it is the reforms of NAFDAC that will attend to me. I want to suggest to PEBEC, can't PEBEC put an M&E protocol in place that if you receive such things, it is monitored on your platform, and then you also conduct a protocol of M&E to find out when that issue is actually resolved at your end. Leaving it like that, I mean, you have just allowed that business owner to suffer again for not getting any support from anybody. For NAFDAC, I want to suggest, isn't it possible for us to look into what SON has done as to giving those who are not qualified for MANCA a product identification number within that scheme? How NAFDAC can do that is to identify some public analysts. Maybe you give Lagos State like 3 or 4 and some other smaller states 1. So in case there are issues you can't resolve, because my own is almost taking 2 years, within a short time of 1 year, or as specified in your what is it called, in your guidelines. It can even take the agency 5 years. But don't suffer me after I have gone to look for money, my feeding money loan, like many other people, and people cannot pay back their loans because your regulations does not allow people to sell. So if I meet the conditions, at least the first thing is for you to talk of safety. So if the analyst, if that recognized analyst has given me a test result, and you can use that test result to give me a number that I can use for, maybe it's renewable every 1 year, till you take 10 years to finish your own process. And then you don't suffer a business sector that is suffering from the system already. Then another system is punishing the person again. So that is, I don't know if what I have said makes sense, but I am so emotional talking about my issue. Some people know about it. So thank you so much. Let me stop there.
Thank you very, very much, Mrs. Sholari. We acknowledge your efforts and enterprise in the non-oil export sector, and as part of what of us at NPNEN. I don't know if we still have the time, but I think it would be unfair not to allow PEBEC and NAFDAC not to defend. Please, I'm sorry, I'm one of those who believe that Nigerian agencies ministries, departments, and agencies love to defend rather than to listen and to assuage. Please, we don't want a debate now between you and Mrs. Cholarin. She has made suggestions to both of you. Can we please have your responses in 1 minute? And then I'll pass on to our president. We're almost only have 9 minutes left. So let me start with Pebek.
Thank you very much, Boyede. We will not defend. The first thing here is you did mention NPNEN's interest in having a conversation with the DG directly. Please, can that be made official? Let NPNEN write, so that I can follow up with him and secure an appointment to hold that conversation as soon as possible. I guarantee that I will get back to you or the NPNEN management on how to, or on the dates as soon as possible. And then Mrs. Cholarin, my sincere apologies. You said you've written to us 2 times, and you seem not to be getting any feedback or whatsoever. I apologize for that. I will say I won't absolve myself of this, but I will suggest another letter, if you don't mind, ma. Let me be in the know of this time around, so I can do follow up personally. And then when you say we should have a protocol, M&E protocol, to monitor other agencies to ensure that issues are resolved, I mentioned ReportGov. On ReportGov, we can see what is happening, and even it goes as far as Mr. President's desk. He has the back-end view, and Mr. VP has the back-end view. PEBEC and all the agencies involved, all the 69 agencies, are on that ReportGov. They all can see what is happening with resolution to any issues reported there. And I assure you, it is maximum of 72 hours. If nothing is done, then it is automatically escalated, and PEBEC can step in and ensure that the issues are resolved. So please, ma, let's have the issue again. You can do info@pebec.com or go to reportgov.ng, which is also available on our website, www.pebec.gov.ng. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I will drop
Thank you
my
very much.
number here. I will drop my number here if it's WhatsApp too, just to make it faster. Thank you. Sorry that I overstepped my time.
Thank you so much. And on that note, I'll just bring Mr. Damen back for 1 minute. 1 minute only, please, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. I can still see the hands of my mommy, Mrs. Solarin, still up. But just want to say this issue she has raised, we had on personal notes taken note of this, and the suggestion on getting other laboratories. Yes, it's a discussion that I've started many years, but I don't think it's something that just a decision that can be taken one-off. So I advise that if there is a forum like this to ventilate it further, why not? Let the discussions come up. It's not just her own case. Of course, so many would have had that challenges. I want to stop here. Since you said it's not for any defense, we would have tried to look deep dive into what actually transpired. But I want to say, let me hold up here. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate your understanding, and you're sticking to the 1 minute. And as I very, very respectfully and humbly want to bring up our president, I want to just thank everybody again, and to encourage us that this town hall should not end as merely another conversation. We have discussed a lot, findings, perspectives, and recommendations that have emerged at today's engagement are definitely potentially capable of contributing toward a stronger national agenda for export logistics reform. Of course, we all agree that Nigeria cannot achieve sustainable export growth while logistics inefficiencies continue to increase trade costs and weaken competitiveness. And like we all agree, and I hope we do all agree and will commit to it, the time for coordinated action is really now. And as I thank you again, I want to now respectfully invite Alhaji Ahmad Rabiu, President and Network of Practicing Non-Oil Exporters of Nigeria. You are welcome, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, our trustee and live enabler. I will begin my very brief remark by appreciating you profusely for what you've been doing, sustaining and supporting our moves at all times. And I always put the two of you together with our Iron Lady, Madam Titi, our Executive Secretary, who is turning 50 very soon. Happy birthday, Madam, and may we witness many more in good health and prosperity. I wish to thank all those who have participated in today's engagement and to say the essence addressing Nigeria's export future being at risk because of challenges on logistics. And we are adding why logistic reforms can't wait. And to say with this, the major contributions that have been, all the contributions that have been made are appreciated. But importantly, the issues of the town hall not being an end in itself, but a vehicle to provoke further actions. And we cannot appreciate PEVEC enough, because PEVEC, as Mr. Boyede has mentioned, is an agency that knows it all, that is involved in it all. With this partnership with the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, we trust what we need are 3 or 4 things. In the first instance is to ensure that all the things that are required to make us benefit from the various policies and incentives being given is if there is adequate infrastructure that can enable us to deliver. Moving from, for instance, any of Nigeria's border into its next neighbor is an impossible thing. Moving into Cameroon, for instance, there is no road. Into Chad, no road. Into Niger, no road. And for those that are by the coastline that are somehow taking our businesses away, we know what it is. So importantly, PEVEC should please take the next step as has been promised, and we have already sought for your kindness. We shall put together a full report of this engagement and suggest the next steps that PEVEC should take, which will include, among others, facilitating an executive order to be issued by Mr. President, so that all those who are seeking certain issues of authorities of approval of licenses, if they're going beyond certain period without good response, and that can be proved to the PEVEC platform, then that would be deemed to have been obliged and given. And for the issues of the infrastructure, which is critical, work with the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investments, and even Foreign Affairs Ministry, and then the sub-regional bodies like ECOWAS. Like for Niger, we have the Niger Joint Commission for Cooperation. We have similar organization with Cameroon. We have similar bilateral and multilateral in our respect sub-regional, the ECOWAS and the African Union itself, and come up with what will enable us appreciate what Europe has done to itself. Europe has provided a uniform logistics platform. You can move from one end of Europe to the other end by rail. You can enjoy so many things within Europe. It has made life a lot easier, made it cheap, and helping all their economies. We believe PEVEC can also engender some linkages with African countries and their business team with Industry, Trade and Investment Minister to come in together and be sensitized as regards to knowing one fundamental issue, that what is lacking now or absent or that is needed but is not adequate. Business community can come together, put their resources together, and then invite investors from the rest of the globe to come in from China, that's from Asia, if you like, from Europe, from the US, and come in and partner with us. So let me conclude by saying, after appreciating all our members of trustee, the executive, and members of NPNEN, and particularly those who make it a day always to join us in our event, I wish to appreciate all the agencies that have been supporting us and working with us, from PEBEC and NEPC, and name them. All the list that has been done, the call for praise are already going on, so I have to rush very quickly and round up. And besides the appreciation, to say, when we are invited for to be educated, please let us make it a day. And all those who have good advices to make, please craft an advice that we believe can help us really move on and exploit the benefits, the opportunities that are there. I believe these are things that we owe to ourselves. That is why we are always inviting all stakeholders, from government agencies to service providers and the rest. So finally, an appreciation of Mr. President. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has, through the new renewed hope agenda, gave attention to making our ports efficient. And so we are seeking, in the light of what he's doing in that, to also collaborate with other countries and ensure the inland linkages. Like we founded Dala Inland Dry Port in Kano over 25 years ago, and up to date, Dala Inland Dry Port is grappling with certain challenges. I had made submissions to NPNEN, to PEBEC, and particularly when I had opportunity of being at PEBEC myself. And I believe they are things that when we come for a special visit, we shall project what has really been invested in the Inland Dry Port in Kano and what it requires to really give the required support to the Nigerian economy. I think on this, I want to thank you all again, and to say, may the mighty Lord continue to guide and bless our leaders. May the country enjoy peace and unity. We believe economic affairs, economic prosperity is the best thing that can happen to make all hands to be involved in good things. The more unemployment that is generated, the more platform is given for breeding bad people, miscreant, a recruitment ground for evil. So please let us all continue to work together and continue to pray for our great country. We are in a special days as Muslim. We are in the Ayam Tashriq, the special 10 days of the month for the Hajj, and we are in prayers, and we continue to pray for our president and for our country. And I see that we also continue to pray for ourselves individually and pray for our individual vehicles that we're helping, using to help our great country. So thank you so very much again. May the Almighty God continue to guide and bless our steps. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. President,
Yes,
and I hand over to Titi.
Thank you so much, sir. Just a minute. Thank you, everyone. We've been thanked. So I'm just coming to give a few updates, announcements, I'll call it. First, please, NPNEN is on social media, so we want you to follow our pages on Facebook. If you type Network of Practicing Non-Elect Voters of Nigeria, you will find us on Facebook. Please follow us. You could also see that as NPNEN, but we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook. Please follow. You continue to see updates on what we're doing at NPNEN. If there's any information for the public, you can always catch it there. Our website is also active, www.mpnen.com. Then, of course, NPNEN is a membership organization. So you could also subscribe as a member of NPNEN. I'll put the link here. But you're going to get an email after this. Everyone that participated in this meeting will get an email, and we're going to give you all the details that you need. And also a recording, the link to the recording of today's town hall meeting will be there. So we look forward to, just expect that from us within the next few days. Perhaps early next week, we would have created everything that we need to send to you. So expect an email from us next week. Thank you very much, everyone. And I think this is a great place to say thank you. So our moderator, thank you very much, sir. You did an excellent job. Always. I'm a Maribo.
It's beyond moderator. I better give him a better name. Mr. Boyede, we appreciate it.
Maribo. We'll always have you with us.
Man with the great name.
Thank you. I keep seeing Ifeanyi here.
I'm blushing now. You don't do.
Thank you.
So, Barka de Salah to all our Muslim brethren.
Yes.
And please, when we are sending the ram, I always like the head. It's the head. Send the head to me.
I understand you're going to be in Canada soon, isn't it? But we can still send it.
We are security conscious. We are security conscious.
Thank you. Mr. Oluwaseun, please say our regards. Thank you so very much.
Right. Everyone, have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of the month.
Mr. Boyede, one thing. Boyede, you have not said happy birthday yet. Happy birthday.
No, we are discussing
Please.
that. We are discussing that underground.
And how old is she now? 16?
Oh, Lord. You want to ask me? It's my golden jubilee.
It's golden. So anything